Speaking of that clash, it is game 1 here, round 4 at YCS Providence.
All right, looks like we have both players eyeing each other out, set up, ready to go. I don't think we've decided who's going first quite yet, but there is the dice roll.
We could do high roll. I'll go first.
Looks like we got Dean rolling, Avery rolling first here, getting F5. Not the best start. I believe they're rolling for high. At 6, just good enough.
That'll get it.
I'll take first.
All right, and Dean has chosen first, which means Malice is going first. That could be pretty huge there for sure.
Certainly can. So I'm really excited to see this. Please show me what these dinosaurs do.
I'll do my best to quiet my salivating as I see the beautiful Malice combos before us.
Stand by.
Yes. And Mania.
I see a name there, as well as maybe backup Adagnister in Dean's hand, which could be a really fun way to start off here. But ooh, we see the honorary Malice Extender spell card, Allure of Darkness.
And what an amazing ultimate rare that is, just like the circles upon circles. But looks like it's good. Gonna go ahead and draw 2 cards. Banish a dark monster here. Looks like we're adding Droll and Lockbird. And Droll and Lockbird in the hand. Oof. But we are gonna go ahead and banish that Malice P Chessy Cat.
Which is essentially just another monster on the field.
And another Allure of Darkness, technically.
And again, a huge shout out to our production team here. Malice, your Malice are going to be going everywhere during this matchup, so be ready for that.
All right, so gearing up, giving our duelists just a moment to write down. You do have to keep track of the life points on paper.
And this is sort of the first inflection point for a lot of Malice matchups where your opponent is like, do they activate Chessy Cat? Do they not? If they do I stop it? Do I wait for the thing that comes out?
I will link Chessy Cat away.
Ooh, no declaration of Chessy Cat, meaning there is no Malice name in Dean's hand. Trust me when I say if he had one, he would have used it.
Summon?
So we're going to Legal Rebo, but in response on summon, we are going to go ahead and pitch the Molcharmi Purulia.
Really heads-up play
there.
there.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Molcharmi Fuwalo, very heads-up play there from Avery, waiting until stuff was committed, because Malice is definitely one of those decks where, if you shotgun the Fuwalos, they can just go make Hard Scripter, set a bunch of back row, and say, your turn, and they still have plenty of ways to interact.
Speaking of interacting, we're going to go ahead and reveal the backup Adagnister there, the sort of spiritual successor of Backup Secretary, but this is more than just a free Cyberse body.
Yeah, so because Dean controls a Cyberse Link monster, he's able to summon from his hand, and then on summon he can search for a Dark Cyberse monster, add to his hand, then discard at resolution.
Be very powerful to go ahead and set up an additional Malice play if he happens to get access to the Malice March Hare. Now, it is a little odd, the hand having 2 Droll and Lockbirds that could slow the duel's tempo down, but it's not going to speed things up for Dean right this moment.
And he can always discard one using the Secretary as well to have that redundancy kind of taken care of. Just debating here between getting the Wizard. He is going to choose to get Wizard Adagnister, another new card from Alliance Insight. This card essentially reborns under the Cyberse from the graveyard and can change battle positions of your opponent's monsters, which is pretty cool. Yep, and there we see that second Droll and Lockbird getting discarded. Dean's like, I got plenty of these. We don't need any more birds.
But that's so cool because now from Avery's perspective, he thinks, oh, he doesn't have a Droll and Lockbird because he discarded it. Well, maybe that redundancy actually is going to pay off.
Yeah, I often think of playing against Malice. It's like playing against a poker player, I have to take everything they do as a point of inflection for information because their hand can be so powerful. It's either full of extenders, non-engine, or more engine. And all those options are scary, but it really affects my way of playing if I'm on Avery's side.
Well, let's see what Dean does next. He goes ahead and performs the Link 2. We're going into appears to be Splash Mage.
That's normally how the newer Malice combos kind of start off because it just allows you to get quickly into your Red Ransom, which can get you things like Mouse in the Mirror access, which is really awesome.
Oh, and there's the Droll and Lockbird, so that'll definitely help. We're going to go ahead and burn that now, which means this turn I think is going to be pretty active.
Oh, very heads-up play there from Dean, using the Droll and Lockbird to stop these Fuwalos draws, so that way he can just full combo and not have to worry about anything because he doesn't really need to add cards to his hand anymore. Yeah, he loses access to Red Ransom, but who cares?
Feeling pretty good on that end as the Malice P Chessy Cat returns to the field. So all the materials you need for a Link 3.
This could be a good white binder play if he plays things like TB11, which he might not. Some Mouse players don't choose to do that. It's always going to be, I think, pretty telling here what he goes for.
What a weird format we're in where there are so many choices for the Malice deck that they can even start dropping what was critically seen as some of their most important trap cards.
Yep, so there we see the Red Ransom. It will not get its effect on summon because of the Droll and Lockbird, but it still has the effect to banish stuff from the deck. If it gets banished, and there we see Gold Sarcophagus.
Oh, wow.
Yet another Malice Gold Sarcophagus card played here from the opponent.
So there's the Dormouse getting banished there, about to hear those life point chimes once again. Minus 300 to have Dormouse appear back on the field.
This could be a really good gambit for Dean here to go for something like add Dormouse, use Dormouse's effect to banish the brand new March Hare. March Hare adds up the hand, and then link these two off. then use March Hare to banish the Red Ransom and get access to all your bodies that way.
That is what makes March Hare such an unusual card, right? You know, some cards would say other than itself, not so with March Hare, but it looks like instead we're going to take a U-turn here and grab the Malice P White Rabbit, get a little bit of additional advantage.
Yeah, we want to get access to the trap cards, I feel like, if we're Dean here, just to get that awesome grind game in rotation, because if Avery does have extra ways to stop us, this just feels like the most insulatory place you could go for.
What does this affect for Red Rabbit?
To set one Malice trap from
Yeah, so White Binder's effect on summon will let it set from the deck. I believe we took in a total of 900 life points of damage to go to 7,100 here.
Avery been playing his hand pretty close to the chest, so I can't see if there's like a Nibiru, the Primal Being, or something in his hand, but seems to just be staring down material after material as Dean sets things up.
Yeah, so I think what Dean's probably going to try to do is like weave in White Binder as soon as possible to try to play around the potential of a card like Nibiru. But because we have GWC access, we're kind of always safe from Nibiru, so I think he's like chill to play through it, but it's all a timing thing, and it can be really tough to tell.
We will activate GWC06.
Well, time to find out as we use GWC06. Let's go ahead and banish. And who are we grabbing from the grave?
We're going to get the Chessy Cat, I believe. Yep, just printing that back.
Cheesy cat here.
And then we're going to use
Heart's
Red Ransom on a new chain, pay 900, and then banish the last name out of the deck that we haven't seen yet. It's only fitting that we haven't seen the newest one last. It's going to be March Hare, Malice P White March Hare, to be specific.
Slowly but surely just crawling through this field, but showing how resilient this deck still is, even though the Forbidden Limited list did change things just a little bit for it. Don't cry for Malice. I think it's doing just fine as Malice P March Hare finally hits the tournament tables, banished. And let's pay 300 to grab it back to the hand.
Dean might have gotten his hands on this card yesterday, but he's playing it like an absolute master. You can tell he was ready for this card to come out.
You're good to summon?
It doesn't actually summon it. Adds to hand.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a brand new card, and that's what's really interesting about March Hare. It's got a sort of bestial flavor to it, being able to banish those Malice names from the graveyard. As a quick effect, too, which is insane.
Yeah, for the longest time, Malice has had like a really big problem of drawing too many names, but now having an in-archetype bestial, essentially, you can really utilize all those names because Malice P March Hare can banish from the graveyard or from the hand, which is just amazing.
We'll go.
All of a sudden, you don't get like clumpy hands anymore. You're able to just sort of like dislodge it, I guess? Yeah, dislodge it with that Malice P March Hare. But speaking of which, I think we are going to go ahead and link summon here. Just choose the material. It's going to be all three of our main deck monsters.
This is feeling like a White Binder play to me, just so we can have that GWC access during Avery's turn.
Took a quick look at the allied code talker there.
I don't think he can summon that with a Link 3. He would need to get rid of the Red Ransom 2, but that could be what he's trying to end on, and he's trying to think to himself, how can I get there?
Yep.
I will think on White Binder.
White Binder is in play now.
We've used all of our names, so unless we really want the Fulos to be banished or we want like really good access for Hard Scripter later on, there's really no need to necessarily banish right now. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll wait to use my White Binder banish until after I summon it back, using its own effect. But Dean might not be doing that for the rest of this game.
Now, there may be some sense into getting rid of the backup Adagnister there because maybe you just don't want to call by the grave to hit you later, right? If it's not in the graveyard, it's not eligible for being called by.
100%.
Yes.
Yep, so now we're going to use the Ignition effect of White Binder to reset the trap card GWC06, just give us our follow-up / our extra disruption that we have on during Avery's turn.
I messed up again.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Dean is kind of leaving himself with not that much places to go from here because unless he's playing things like Access Code Talker, or Firewall Dragon, he's not really going to have like the best things to end on because he's already used a lot of his effects. It is worth noting that he hasn't used the March Hare's ability to banish to summon itself out, but there's nothing really to banish because unless that White Binder hits the graveyard, it's not going to come back. We still have the Wizard, I believe, as well, that we searched earlier off of the backup.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet.
Like I said, I think he's going to try to figure out a way to put both these Link 3s in the graveyard and then summon them back off with Allied Code Talker Adagnister.
Does that target?
But that might be tough to get there and not play through
not
Nibiru.
sure
It was
if it
the maybe thing he's
banishes.
thinking about.
You're right.
Correct
It
me if I'm wrong.
just banishes.
Yep.
So looks like we are going to go ahead and banish the Dormouse. And what is cool about that Malice P March Hare, not only are you able to add cards back to the hand for extended plays, but later in the duel, let's say you really need access to the Dormouse, it's just sitting there. You might as well add it to your hand so you can start off your Malice combo once more. So very powerful card and definitely seeing its influence on this duel already.
Mm-hmm.
Did I see that right? Is that a Dominus Impulse in the hand?
Ooh, that could be a really nice way to kind of top off this end board here, whatever Dean tries to go for, to have that extra bit of disruption for Avery's turn. There we see the potential Link 5 question mark? Link 3 question mark?
I think he's looking at it.
Yeah, he's gonna value the hard script disruption a little bit higher than maybe the allied code talker
Anything
here.
to the summon a Cryptor?
Nothing to summon a Cryptor.
I will.
This also lets him play around Nibiru too, because Cryptor can always just banish herself and dodge the Nibiru tribute, which is pretty cool if he's thinking about that. So here we see the Wizard bringing back the March Hare. That's going to be the 2 bodies he needs. He can now use these 2 to go for Allied Kotaku Agnister and then summon back both of the 2300 attack
Do
point.
you mind if I read the Cryptor?
All right, Arrowhead's confirmed. I think we're about to Link 5.
Yep, there we see Allied Code Talker at Ignister. Malice? Is that also part of his name? I forgot.
No, Malice is not part of his name.
The cover card for Alliance Insight. This card essentially is an Omni Negate for Cyber's cards, and on summon it'll let him summon as many 2300 attack point Link 3s from his graveyard to the zones that this card points to. I believe that's 2 right now. Red Ransom and White Binder.
That is right. Now, certainly, Code Talkers are what comes to mind when you think of Link 3 2300, but honorary Code Talkers, there's no Code Talker in their name, but they feel like it.
I will set 1.
So we're definitely showcasing the power of the Malice Dark type, but I feel like Dean might have left himself a little bit stymied here because I don't see the easiest access to getting to Heart's Cryptor during his opponent's turn. He would have to like use the Allied Code Talker first, tribute his White Binder, then GDC back out the White Binder. So Avery could have an opportunity in that window to go for a really big dinosaur play. But he does have to fight through a lot.
All right, well, it's dinosaur time. Let's see what we got here. Looks like he drew an additional copy of Fualos there, an Ash Blossom and Joyspring in the hand. I do see an Anima-adorned Archosaur.
I mean, this will be a fun thing to see.
Oh, but we're going to start off with the Fualos. It's very strong. Just to kind of, sort of like just spot checks things like, hey, you're going to do anything about this? Cool. Okay, well, then I'm going to start playing, and maybe I'll draw a card later.
If it was Meowls, I know Dean would have been like, uh-oh.
Ooh, Pot of Prosperity.
Okay, I respect that. We know Dinosaur's a very main deck-centric deck when it comes to its big boss monsters, and that can totally be enough for you to kind of fight through whatever this board is. But that Allied Kotaku Agnister might be hard to play through if you have like a really big power spell or power monster you need to get through, because it can just negate and destroy that card.
Be interesting to see the reaction there, because Dean's not in the joke like we are. Doesn't know that dinosaurs are coming his way.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that, how shocking these top 3 cards might be for Dean to see.
How many in hand?
4 in hand.
4 in hand. I'm going to chain Allied Code to tribute the White
We
Binder.
are going to use Allied Code
wow.
Talker. So this is really interesting here, because not only will he not get to know what deck Avery's playing,
So, yes.
but the reason he's doing this is because he needs to set up his GWC 06, because now he can 06 bring back White Binder, summon back all of his Malice names, get an extra trap card, and still play under Fualos, funny enough, which is very funny. He's going to summon 5 monsters, but like Fualos won't draw you a single card.
Well, Trumpier Meow's the main deck is seeming better and better, and just like you said, here we go, GWC 06.
It only banishes for cost if it was the turn it was set.
Interesting to see him choose to shotgun it on an open game state and not like in reaction to anything. But I'm not sure what he's trying to play around necessarily, but
Wave or banish.
it could be interesting because he's kind of leaving himself open to getting impermed on the White Binder on summon, but let's see what happens here.
Now, I'm not saying Avery is down and out of the duel yet, but there is going to come a point where you have to consider, do you surrender before your opponent even finds out your strategy, or do you keep trying to push and risk giving away a little bit of information?
I've always been a really big proponent of like watching how my opponent plays as long as possible, because the way they play their deck is almost more important to me than if they know what I'm playing or not, because how they use their disruptions can tell me a lot about the advantages I can have in games 2 and 3.
Looks like we're going to go ahead and banish the March Hare, Heart's Cryptor, and then the White Rabbit.
Yeah, that's going to be super good. It gives him follow-up. It gives him access to March Hare as an extra banish during this turn in case he wants to get even more value. And he gets the extra trap card out of his deck, potentially MTPO7, and get that second non-target banish alongside his Heart's Cryptor. So this is going to be a crazy Malice board. He went from having 3 monsters to 2 to 6.
Well, the Malice wars continue here.
I'm sorry, 5. March Hare is going to hand.
I'm not sure what that puts me at. I haven't been totaling it.
And then life points, he gained 23 just now, and he's losing another
1,500, right?
15.
9,
So,
and yeah.
So he gained 800 total.
Let's just go ahead and put the Heart's Cryptor over there.
This stays here. It'll add 1 back. This will summon
just such a strong field being established. Remember whose turn this is, right? It's our turn, but no, we haven't even seen a single dinosaur yet, so again, it'll be interesting to see how Dean reacts.
To set a Malice Trap.
Yep, so we're going to see the set of the Malice Trap card. My assumption is going to be MTPO7 for that extra non-target banish.
Set a copy of MTPO7.
There it
Feels
is.
good.
It is worth noting, too, that we haven't used Red Ransom or White Binder's effect when they're banished. So if we banish either of those, we can get even more value. And this just shows the power of the Malice grind game that I call it, which is this sort of loop of things like White Binder, G2CO6, and the triple DD Crow-like effect.
What's kind of incredible is that it gets access to this pretty much every turn that it goes unopposed. Not to say that the deck cannot be defeated, but as long as it can keep doing this, again, from start to bottom of a turn, that's pretty good.
Yes, if shit points to a monster, all the attack and defense.
So just confirming the effect of Red Ransom there. Of course, it does ransom your abilities, kind of has that inherent shield and sword-like ability to swap everything.
It is also worth noting, too, that all the Malice main deck monsters have abilities when Malice Link monsters point to them.
So 33.
So like White Rabbit right now, if you did battle with Red Ransom, Dean would not take any damage.
Normal summon?
Ooh, and there we see the Archosaur!
On summon effect.
A lovely little level 1 light dragon with the on summon effect to pop itself an ad,
So
or pop a card
a
now.
dinosaur from hand or field to add a pill spell.
The tiniest dinosaur. Wouldn't harm a fly, but it might harm his opponent's life points once it gets going.
I mean,
the pop monster.
Like, if we just get access to UCT this turn, do we just break this board?
Maybe?
Right? Like
attack, 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 attack.
Like, all we have to play through is two non-target banishes plus another trap card, and there we see the double evolution pill coming to hand.
We're doing it.
I mean, we're dinoing. I bet Dean looks stunned to me. He's just like, okay, we do have Dominus Impulse, which can stop the pill, which is worth noting.
And I will say the defense of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is 3,200, so Red Ransom be darned. We getting in there.
True, Red Ransom does swap.
It swaps it, but what does it matter when the defense is equally pretty high?
Turns out a big dinosaur also has a big defense as well. So we see Overraptor going to be Overraptoring. Man, this card's been doing all kinds of craziness since, what, 2017, 2018?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the dinosaur structure deck, I could never find it in my official tournament store because everybody just gobbled this up. It was such a great deck.
Oh, there it is. He's reading Miscellaneous.
He's reading Miscellaneous chat. Do you see what is happening?
Which, good on him. You definitely should do that. That card's crazy.
It's in my hand. It
was yeah. Dean's like, well, obviously you're going to do this, right?
Yeah, so not yet.
Let me just do it for you. Not yet.
Sorry, chat. We love Yu-Gi-Oh! So when this stuff happens, we just are here for the meme like you are.
I am interested to see how Avery kind of goes from here because he has the two monsters. We know he's playing Fiendsmith. Dean maybe doesn't know that. We could see.
Yeah, what's the read? You can't see that this is a Fiendsmith deck. This is dinosaurs.
Not yet. Not yet.
First effect by sending to grave.
Yep, there we see the first effect of Mist being activated. So now he's unaffected.
For this main phase. That's why you have to read Miscellaneous because it's a very specific effect. The dinosaurs are unaffected by activated effects during this main phase.
And that includes trap cards, correct?
Yeah, it affects an effect, including if it's a trap card.
So I'm saying... And we're going to chain to Mrs. Effect using MTPO7. Very heads up from Dean here.
This will banish for cost. We'll banish the White Binder.
Yep, so we're banishing White Binder here to be able to activate. It's not necessarily cost. It's more like allowing us to activate it, which I guess is a cost.
It is, but it is a very strange thing. Earlier in the duel, they had that conversation. It's like, wait, you didn't banish. Like, well, I don't have to banish if it's the turn later, which can also be a detriment to Malice. Sometimes they do want to banish here.
Yes. So it is an interesting kind of a card, but yeah, he's able to activate it here, banishing the White Binder. He'll be adding and non-target banishing as Chainlink 2, where Misk is Chainlink 1, so he will be able to get rid of one of these bodies. In my mind, you get rid of the Overraptor, because it hasn't used its other effect to summon yet.
Makes sense. Think about that cost. It's almost like it's on sale sometimes, right? Like, ordinarily you got to banish a Malice, but for you, nah, we'll let this go.
It is worth noting that the Overraptor should be banished here and not destroyed. There we see the fix.
Correct.
That does matter for Pill.
And so this was done before the Miscellaneous resolved, so that's why the dinosaur was affected. Okay, just making sure I got my head on straight.
07 was Chainlink 2, Miss was Chainlink 1. And
there was Ash Blossom, yeah.
So the
stops the White Binder because it's got the draw effect on that Pay 900.
Oh, interesting choice to save it for the White Binder to kind of stop that access easily. But you could have also just done it to MTPO7 and stopped the banishing of your Overraptor as well. Interesting choice there. But maybe he just didn't think about that?
Well, or maybe he wants to keep his dinosaurs Maybe there's something going on with Animador and Archosaur. We shall
we'll see. We'll see for sure.
Clearly, if you get this far in the tournament with this Dinosaur Fiendsmith deck, you know what you're doing, and you probably have played against at least one Malice player before, so you've got a plan. Trust the process.
Let's see. I think every card that we know about has been played already. It's just a question of what can he do with this Archosaur. As far as I'm concerned, you could still use Misk. So like if you can get the Archosaur in the graveyard, you can use Misk to bring it back out, which is kind of cool to get like double bodies that way. But I don't think you can link this off or anything.
Miscellaneousaurus, when you banish it from there, let me read Miscellaneousaurus. Let's do this together, chat.
To my understanding, you could banish like it plus another number of dinosaur monsters, and then summon a monster whose level is less than that. And so, like, because Archosaur's level 1, you can just, like, send Misk by himself and then summon it.
That's correct.
But, again, I haven't read Misk in a long time. I don't want to just speak out my UCT about this.
Tell you what, we'll save that between turns, but chat, we will officially read Miscellaneousaurus.
But here we see the link summon of Relinquished Anima. It is level 1! Oh, I was like, what can he link off into? Of course.
Now, I will say, you know, the allied code talker adding Mr. 5 arrows it has. They don't point at that. Could you imagine absorbing it?
Dude, that'd be so wild.
That'd be insane.
That'd be so wild.
Misk effect, banish 2 for cost.
Yep.
Ooh, 2.
Just press summon a level 2 dinosaur from deck.
Yep, so now he's going to summon a level 2 dinosaur from the deck.
So imagine that's like Baby Ceratosaurus.
That's fine.
Or Petit Pterodon, maybe?
Yeah, there's a lot of different level 2 dinosaurs, so we'll have to find out.
Petit Pteranodon.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Very.
Yes.
We're reading every dinosaur. And you really should, chat. You know, as fun as we're having about all these, reading dinosaur card jokes, there's no problem in asking your opponent, just, I really need to verify this. And at this level at tournament play, don't just guess. Find out.
And then remember, his dinosaurs are unaffected, guys. We have to remember this.
Yes.
They are unaffected. But Double Evolution Pill is not unaffected, right? It's a spell card.
Yeah, it's a spell, so it could be negated.
Okay. Right, exactly. So Dominus
you will
Impulse is a really huge card here to have for Dean, if that is the card that he has set face down.
To shuffle it back in the
Now, dinosaurs certainly are known for many things, and the reactions can be one of those things. So unfortunately, Avery did receive a slow play minor warning. If you see our timer go up for 3 minutes, that's the standard time extension for a slow play minor warning. But it's his first one. He hasn't had any other slow play penalties, so it will not be upgraded.
Also, huge heads up play here from Dean, putting back the White Binder into his extra deck so he can access it later and getting rid of that Relinquished Anima, just denying Avery as many bodies as possible, which Avery was probably like, I was really hoping to go for a Fiendsmith play this turn.
There's the pill.
Yep.
Oh, the Dominus Impulse!
That will negate and destroy the Evolution Pill because it contains an effect to destroy a monster, or sorry, special summon a monster, and Dean was so quick to flip that up. He's like, I'm not even going to worry about this, man. It's not working.
That is making it difficult there.
Sure.
Oh, and there we see the pass from Avery. Honestly, UCT might have been enough to break this board altogether because Dean had already used the hard scripter. He could have just waited for the battle phase and used it then. Or no, I forget. UCT's protected, right?
No, because it's only the main phase. Your dinosaurs should only be protected from their main phase.
Exactly.
So yeah,
beautiful.
So he did what was right. Unfortunately, it's just not going his way.
And then,
yeah.
Yep.
If I was Dean, I probably would have saved the hard scripter if I didn't have Impulse.
I'll target the Dormouse. We'll shuffle it back to banish the Pterodon.
Yep.
Ooh.
Oh, this is getting real difficult there. Avery, unfortunately, staring down a lot of monsters.
Let's see, how much damage do we currently have on the board? This hard scripter was summoned using its effect, so it's currently 5,000 minimum.
Yeah, that's going to be enough.
Yeah, plus the 20. I believe Allied Code Talker is just 23, right?
I think so, yeah. But Dominus Impulse just really set the tone for this duel. And
at this point,
now we get the Chesacat.
Oh, and there we see Avery just conceding. He's like, I don't need you to do the math for me, man. I got this. We'll go to game 2.
Game recognizes game, and dinosaurs definitely see a bunch of big attack points they know when they are cooked. But Avery's still showing just the dinosaur side. Get this. Didn't show off a single Fiendsmith card, meaning that technically he doesn't know that the Fiendsmith are coming and may not be able to appropriately side deck against it. Now, I will say, when you're side decking here, you probably have similar answers to a graveyard effect-based deck like dinosaurs that would affect a Fiendsmith deck. Like, right, that's about the same zone
for sure
of influence there. But yeah, we'll have to see what they end up side decking. But again, Dean taking game 1, Avery conceding that first game, and let's get to the side decks.
I mean, a popular thing a lot of duelists have been playing in their side decks ever since December has been things like Artifact Lancia, Chaos Hunter, various ways to stop cards from being banished. I would not be surprised if Avery put those in against Dean playing his Malice deck. But yeah, besides like Graveyard Hate, I'm not sure how much you can affect a dinosaur deck.
You really can't. I mean, Dimension Shifter would be nice, but we all know what happened to Dimension Shifter, right? So you can't rely on that. But Dean obviously locked in. Didn't seem like he was too phased there by the dinosaur plays, so we'll see what he ends up including into his main deck.
Now, I don't know about you, Steven, but whenever I think about Dinosaur, I always think classically like a deck that loves breaking boards.
Oh, yeah. Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is just there to just attack, attack, attack. And if you're lucky enough, you can destroy a dinosaur, flip everything face down. That's not going to be something you can do against a well-established Malice board, right, since Link monsters can't get face down. But if you time it right, and if he takes an opportunity to go first, he might be able to use that to basically shut off like a Malice P Dormouse.
Yeah.
And then if that's face down, that may be the entire turn.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, is there a world where Avery chooses to go second? Probably not.
No, I couldn't imagine that when you have such strong options going first, especially when you haven't revealed your Fiendsmith entourage yet, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I bet you that'll be very shocking for Dean to see. Like going first, having access to the Fiendsmith and the dinosaur cards, like there could be Evil Soul Dorka as far as we know.
Oh, yeah.
And that could be a funny way just to be like, oh, hey, I also have Dominus Impulse, but it's a monster.
Oh, Dominus Impulse, such a strong card. Not, available for every different strategy, right? I've suffered from that too because I run too many different attributes, but really changed the tempo in Dean's favor there. Just really got him into the safe zone, right? Didn't have to run from dinosaurs when you could just stop them from showing up to begin with.
Yeah, getting rid of the scariest thing, UCT, and putting it off the table is like a really nice way for Dean to be like, okay, I think my board is good enough to play through all of Avery's cards. And I bet you Avery has a bit more respect now for the Malice board, because I don't even think what we saw with Yami Negate and all the Malice follow-up was like the best Malice has to offer right now from Dean, and I bet you there's even more gas in the tank or ceiling to that house.
Yeah, and duelists are going to get better and better with this deck as they continue to play it again. These new cards only being legal as of, let me check my watch here, yesterday. But it's one of those decks that describe as having like a high skill ceiling. There really aren't even that many Malice cards in existence, but just finding your way to weave in through the combos and successfully get through a 9-round day one. Remember, this is only round 4. So whoever wins this or loses this, they've still got plenty of rounds to go. So cheer for your champion. You might be seeing dinosaurs make the top cut after all, and Malice too.
Yeah, both these players are undefeated. They both have as great a chance as the other one to get into day 2. And they're both kind of playing pretty well. Like, Avery was this close to breaking that board, even though Dean had all that much stuff. So I
like that he went for it too. I know earlier, as we were talking through the game, I mentioned that like, yeah, maybe you can see, but I like that he's like, no, I need to find out what I can do here. So let's experiment.
It looks like both of our duelists have their opening hand of 5 cards. My assumption is Avery has chosen to go first, but he could be a wild card and be like, you know what, I'm a Maverick. You go ahead and go first, and let's just break your board with UCT and go from there.
Give an opportunity to get it done. Looks like duelists are ready, just getting their life pads. Sort of, it feels sacred to write down 8,000, 8,000. But speaking of numbers, it's game 2 here of round 4 of YCS Providence.
Got Avery on the right, Dean on the left. Best look for both players. Looks like Avery has chosen to go first.
All right, well now that the dinosaur is out of the bag,
Anything
if that's a saying.
Yes, sir.
Stand by main.
Are we going to start off with
activate Fossil Dig?
Fossil Dig, that beautiful QCR rarity. What was that, Stampede that came out
I think so, and it does look so gorgeous there. But let's see what dinosaur we grab. A lot of different choices here. Imagine Soul Eating Overraptor, but it depends on what the hand is.
I mean, we're going to get...
Oh, Miscellaneousaurus. Well, I promised we would read it, so let's go ahead and remember. Again, during the main phase, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. During this main phase, dinosaur monster you control are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. You can banish any number of monsters from your graveyard, including this card, special summon a dinosaur monster from your deck with a level equal to that total number of monsters banish activate this effect, but destroy it during the end phase.
Ooh, and there we see the Fiendsmith tracked.
All right, surprise, surprise.
Boom, baby. You thought we were playing dinosaurs? No, we're also playing Fiendsmith, and there we see the, of course, fabled Lurie added
Ooh,
off
he's got the collector's rare version. I love it.
That's very nice. And now Lurie's effect will activate it because it was discarded with track to summon itself back out. And now we have a Light Fiend. We're going to go ahead and link off that Lurie into the fabled Fiendsmith Requiem.
There's a lot of information being exchanged here because, if there was going to be a Mulcharbean coming down or something like that, or a Droll and Lockbird, we obviously would have seen it by now. So, feeling pretty good. I think we're going into a frenzy as Avery goes into his deck with that Fiendsmith Requiem.
Yeah, even though it is like game 2, almost always, besides Ash Blossom, the only real non-engine that Malice decks plays are Mulcharmies and Dominus Impulse. So you can kind of confidently go through a lot of the Fiendsmith plays without worrying too much about those cards because they're not even really playing Bestials anymore.
Which is so strange, just a few cards difference, and now the entire format for that deck, if you're part of the Malice army, your deck doesn't look different, but the way you play it does, which is so cool.
We prefer to call ourselves the Red Hearts Army, Steven.
Okay,
You know that. We've talked about this, and I'm a little hurt.
Okay, fine.
Oh my gosh. Miscellaneousaurus can trigger Necroquip Princess. That is awesome.
Oh, it can! Oh, wow, that's wild.
I was like, I wonder why we're starting with Fiendsmith combo and not using Misk yet.
Yeah.
Now I know why.
That gets it done, too.
That'll be super awesome. Every time I get to draw a card off Necroquip Princess, it feels illegal. Like, I'm doing too good at this.
Feels right.
No, wait, no, we didn't do it. We didn't do Miscellaneousaurus.
No, I guess he wanted to save that.
Wave King Caesar.
That is a really big exchange there.
Oh, that's a little sad. I was really looking forward to that draw. I hyped it up for no reason. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have got people's hopes up. But now we have Caesar. So now Nibiru, not a threat at all ever, and that's a really good monster into the Mouse board specifically. If they don't have like an imperm or a way to out it beforehand.
No, he's feeling very safe here as he uses the Soul Eating Overraptor to go ahead and grab the baby Ceratosaurus.
Activate Misk effect. Anything here?
Nope.
Or do you need to control Dinosaur for Misk?
No, you just discard it. You're fine. So maybe he missed an opportunity there, or maybe it was tunnel vision. Maybe he didn't want to risk getting Droll and Lockbirded. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Animodon Archosaur.
Yep, there we see the Archosaur coming out.
To pop a dinosaur from hand or field to add a post.
That's good.
Yep, and we just had a Berry Ceratosaurus, so we'll get the value that we had in the first game.
2 for 1. Feels pretty good.
Double Vu Simple.
Sure.
And now we got Double Pill. Is this one going to resolve? And are we going to have Caesar plus UCT?
I think so.
It's pretty good.
Ooh, Dean has got his work cut out for him because being able to flip the monster face down, ooh, that's going to be strong.
There we see Petite Pterodon.
Overraptor effect, target the Petite to revive a dinosaur from grave and defense position.
Yep, so we're going to go ahead and destroy that to bring back Baby Ceratosaurus.
Special summon level 4 or higher dinosaur.
And this will get us another level 4 dinosaur potentially, and that could be Dolka if we want one. And then we'll have Dolka plus Caesar.
Oh, that's pretty good. Xenometeorus?
Oh,
wow. Okay.
I forgot. You can summon higher with Petite Pterodon. I totally forgot you could do that.
You can. So Xenometeorus came out, I think, Wild Survivors, and you do not see this every day. There's no way he's like, actually, this has got to just be...
If I see a Frostosaurus come out, I'm going to go crazy.
We don't know.
But if we do, I'm going to go crazy.
Normal monsters outside of a Primite deck?
outside
in 2025?
Oh, my goodness. So there we see the Xeno effect being activated, I believe, destroying the Archosaur, maybe? Question mark?
Thinking
Possibly.
on summoning.
It's got to keep the pace up. Has been warned for slow play before, so you just want to keep those moves going here.
I bet you he's like, I can't believe I got this far. Hang on, let me think really quick.
This isn't supposed to happen.
Normally, people try to stop me from doing this. Give me 1 second.
So yeah, again, take a look at the effect of Xenometeorus. During the main phase, you can destroy a dinosaur monster in your hand or field, and then special summon a dinosaur normal monster. So I guess he's got to have it.
Yep, so here we're going to use the Archosaur to go back into Anima like we saw in Game 1. Just to open up the zones, I think, so he could be able to activate Xeno, because if he has his zones full, I don't think he's allowed to activate Xeno beforehand.
Could be good for an SP Little Knight. Doesn't seem like it's applicable here, but okay, yeah, there's Baby Ceratosaurus. All right, we're going to find out.
And to my knowledge, Baby Ceratosaurus, not once per turn, and there's the Frostosaurus! Let's go, baby!
I mean, people have been playing, like, Summon Skull and Fiendsmith decks. You haven't been seeing people playing Frostosaurus. Is that Chiaptera? What is going on? This is so cool.
Sea serpents, worm, and I believe dragons. Yes, dragons.
He is locked basically into the Ryuge archetype, so it's dinosaurs, sea serpents, worms, dragons.
But notably, that was after. That was after he activated the Xeno effect, so that's why he was able to go Archosaur before into the Anima. And there we saw the Kaitotera coming down. And we're going to go into Reprodocus.
What?
Okay, now we're cooking with gas here. We're going to go to a rank 6. And then we have Evil Sword Lars. I was talking Dolka up. I totally forgot about Lars.
Yeah.
Vanishing for cost.
This is so cool.
Yep, so we're going to banish Anima and Kaitotera.
Well, so summon a level 7 or higher dinosaur.
I hope the Rex Raptors and Tyranno Hassleberries of the world are watching now because... Oh, and yeah, there's the Ultimate Conductor. Oh, this is cool.
Special from Banish.
And even if we had Dominus Impulse, Lars could have just negated it. So he's just like fully safe here. Also with Lars, with dinosaur monsters, actually, I believe can just get rid of one. Doesn't need to get rid of both. So he has double Lars activations potentially.
What? And a Dolka?
And we get Dolka. This board is crazy.
If you're not here at the venue, you're not hearing people cheer for this.
I'll pass to you.
Oh
this
my
is
goodness.
Crazy.
So,
okay.
So let me go through this really quick. We have 3 summon interactions. We have
2
Lars.
effect negations.
We have Reprodocus, which I don't think can do anything right now.
No, he doesn't do anything right now.
And we have UCT for a Book of Moon.
That's pretty good. Okay, I get it.
And against a Malice deck, being able to stop their summons is huge. But there we see the Imperm on the Caesar.
Maybe the Lars says no?
Lars could, I believe, interact with this, yes.
The Caesar?
Yes, sir.
Both duelists just putting on a great performance, but again, it's not every day that you see the dinosaurs. That's why we're particularly excited here. We're going to go and negate that infinite impermanence. It's not going to be another one dropping down, is there? No, it doesn't look like it.
There we see a Lore of Darkness. That's a pretty big card here.
What printing is that? So cool looking.
Wasn't it an OTS promo?
Oh, that's the one it is. Oh, you're right. Wow.
I know my Malice max rarity cards.
Did he just draw another Joel and Lockbird off of a Lore of Darkness like he did in the first game?
Imagine if he had that during...
earlier?
turn,
Yeah, a little too late there. We are going to go and banish the Malice Beat Chessie Cat,
Yes,
pay some life points in order to special summon it, but there's a possibility here that like the Dulka just says no. Oh, no, we're just going to go ahead and negate it with the Caesar.
Yeah, you definitely want to use up the Caesar first, I think, because it's like the most useless monster you have here.
It doesn't have like an all range. It doesn't cover every effect.
And use the effect.
Yep, so that was a normal summon to backup.
And they're still a bit attaching one.
Yep, so we're just going to negate this. Yeah, so we're just going to negate the normal summon, I believe.
And Dulka is not just once per turn.
No, it is not.
Crazy.
I will concede this game.
Oh, and there we see
there's
D
the concession.
with the concession.
Wow. Cheers from the crowd screaming.
That Dino DNA was just too much.
Wow, wow, wow. Somebody call Weevil Underwood because Rex Raptor is just tearing through it. Avery showing us the power of dinosaurs in the year 2025. Now, this is going into game 3. Dean does have an opportunity to go first. We know how strong this deck can be. We did get to see how strong it was for Avery to play, but let's, kind of temper how excited we are and think about it. There wasn't any Molcharmies that Dean dropped down. There wasn't any points of interaction from the hand at all, so that was just unfettered going first play. So, of course, every combo deck looks good under those right conditions, but now they're really going to have to make their side deck choices right and figure out, going head-to-head, what this final game is going to look like.
And I think what Avery's thinking about is, okay, in game 1, I was this close to playing through a quote-unquote 80% Malice board. If I can put cards in my side deck that maybe force Dean to go for like a half board, like a 30% power board, I can probably just punch through like I'm a Dino deck and win the game on my second turn.
So are you saying that his game plan is to pull the plug on Malice so the download is only 50% complete?
Well, Malice is such a strong deck. It's kind of hard to say, yes, I'm going to fully pull the plug on that deck. But I think if the most Dean can do is like a couple non-target banishes, I think Avery can easily break that board and go for game. And that's kind of what he's thinking. He's like, how can I give myself the best position to where my Dino cards going second are enough to beat the Malice cards? So things like Lancia, if he plays it, things like, Chaos Hunter could be just enough to kind of stymie Dean to the point where he can break through with Dinos.
I love that both duelists are locked in. Jokes aside, this is a really heated and intense match, and both of them are just putting pedal to the metal on the side deck trying to figure out what the right options are. But you are right. The right power card at the right time, preventing an opponent from fully establishing what their game plan is on the field, could give you just enough energy. And I feel like that's kind of the story that we're finding. I know we're still early in the tournament, so I don't want to make any broad generalizations. But I almost... Oh, there's a smile. Never mind. Dean's starting to feel a little happy. But I feel like this format is about these bigger power cards with big payoffs. Droll and Lockbird, Nibiru the Primal Being, Dominus Impulse, and the Molcharmies. We're not seeing as big a payoff on some of these one-for-one exchanges. The Infinite Impermanence didn't really do a whole lot there, right?
Yeah.
Great card. Not throwing any shade on Infinite Impermanence, but I do think we're going to see that the big swings of momentum are what are going to carry these duels, because they do slow your opponent down enough that since we are in kind of a combo format, people could jump in and establish something against maybe half of what their opponent was supposed to do.
Yeah, the big thing I think with this format is like, you need to kind of devalue your opponent. Like make them go for plays that don't give them as much power as they could. Like, if the scariest thing your Malice opponent is doing is setting Malice in the mirror with Red Ransom in play, you're like, I could probably beat that.
Yeah.
But if they have GWC, Whitebinder, all the names in the graveyard, I don't care what their board looks like, that's going to be hard to play through for any deck.
Well, hard of the cards be with both duelists. I have no idea what's going to happen. I am not a betting man, but I would not try to guess what the future of this duel looks like. We're going to have to see it in person. And it's wild, too, again, because it's prehistoric versus the future, so it's going to be fun to see what happens next.
Huge shout out to both duelists right here. If you would have told me before, hey, Steven, you're going to watch a game between Malice. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's really cool. But they're playing against Fiendsmith Dinosaurs, and they're going to game 3. I'd have been like, excuse me?
No.
Hello?
You're lying.
Okay.
You're nice, but you're lying. But no, there aren't any lies here, fam. This is all real.
All right, here we see them drawing their opening hands. My assumption is Dean wants to go first because every Malice player loves doing that.
Just wild. Yeah, both of them are just like, they know. Even they've got to know, okay, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm here for it. Thanks, bro.
They're like, it's go time, it's duel time, it's game 3 time. It's going to be super exciting.
Good, clean duel coming our way. Woo! Well,
And there's
if
that
you
duel.
like the first games, yeah, here we go to game 3.
That's right. Both players look ready to go. They're enjoying themselves.
All right.
How much time's on the clock? They have a
How much
little
time do we
under 7 minutes, it looks like.
9 minutes.
And time is of the essence because Malice does a little of its damage to itself. It also gains life points too. Man, those Droll and Lockbird just glued to his hand. So,
Go Perulia.
Perulia's
we're gonna do Perulia.
Perulia is a bit of a
Big
better mulch
cheers
run.
though.
Yeah, nowadays, Mouse has a lot more cards to summon from hand, too, so they could be a really fun interaction. But you can also just play around it completely if you just banish all your cards instead.
Well, he did open up with the Droll and Lockbird, so he's going to have to make some decisions here. Does he want to cut himself off?
Dormouse.
We shall find out. But
And
he's going to
I'll
kind of
pay
play
300
around
for
things
Dormouse.
as the Mousepy Dormouse is banished by Gold Sarcophagus. Pay 300 life points, special summon that out.
Yeah, you're totally right. I think he did like regret it a little bit in Game 1, turning off his Red Ransom and denying
I like
himself
that.
Malice in the Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So here we see Dormouse going to go ahead and banish a Malice name. If he has another Malice name in hand, you can go for Chessie. If you don't have one, go for White Rabbit probably. Most standard lines.
Yep, looks like White Rabbit it is.
Classic. And that's the
Rabbit,
collector's
and I'll
wearing one
pay
too.
300 for
Gorgeous.
Definitely did not come here to mess around. I think that Collector's Rare seems to be his favorite rarity, right? You see a lot of Collectors, some Ultimates too, but just great card collection here as Dean is gunning to be our YCS champion. Still got plenty of rounds to go, but great start here on this game 3 as the White Rabbit is going to set.
It's probably going to be the GWC06 or TB11 maybe, but
looks
yeah,
like GWC.
yeah, just want to play around as much stuff as possible, and GWC is like the most flexible trap card.
So weird to see people, running less than the full complement of the trap cards, but it's the future.
Yeah, so I think Dean's thinking to himself, can I just play around this Perulia the entire turn and maybe save my Droll and Lockbird? I think I'm going to try to do that.
That would be ideal to save the Droll and Lockbird, because obviously dinosaurs do a lot of searches from the Soleil Oviraptor to many more
activate
cards. But we're going to go ahead and activate the Wizard Adagnister here.
And that's a little too
target
valuable. I'll go ahead and give you your draw 1 off Perulia. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, is what Dean's probably thinking.
Anything here?
Find out what we're going to draw.
Because that's probably the only draw he's going to give him, you know what I mean, during this turn. Because he doesn't need to go through backup anymore because he has more than enough bodies. It's just a matter of how protected he can be against potential trap cards or things like Nibiru and stuff. But with GWC06, I think he's pretty fine.
Taking a second to just read the last few lines of Lingaribo before combining cards. Looks like we're going in for a Link 3. So I guess we'll put that at that down and left arrow.
We'll go for Red Ray.
Red Ransom
we'll trigger the
here.
effect.
We can use the effect here. Going to hopefully search for... Underground actually wouldn't be that bad to get us access to some more names. But Malice in the Mirror is the other Malice card that came out in Alliance Insight. It's a really cool card. And there we see it for Dean going to his hand. Because he's adding it to his hand, he'll be able to kind of use it as an interruption
I'll probably go back.
during Avery's turn because it has an effect to negate your opponent's card effects, which is pretty cool. By
Nice.
banishing your own Malice monsters.
Which, Malice monsters, they hate being banished.
Oh, yeah. It's the absolute worst thing for them in the world, said no one ever.
Well, speaking of banish, let's go ahead and banish a
bring back
Malice
the,
here so we can
White
go ahead and bring back our White Rabbit. And we're thinking pay 900 for that, but of course gain a little life points first. Oh, no, actually you wouldn't gain life points with no Link monster. My apologies.
Yes, unfortunately. Like, if we chose to just, 06, blink the Red Ransom, yeah, we would gain, but we're not doing that here. We summon the White Rabbit instead. So we've taken a total of 1,500 this turn. Now we're going to banish another name from the deck. We could get March Hare here, but we're going to choose Cat to get another summon in
I'll
rotation
pay 300 for Chess.
for that extra body. That'll let us use the Lingaribo plus White Rabbit to make White Binder. And we can actually use Chessie now to banish the Mouse in the Mirror that's in our hand and get even more searches through our deck, which is pretty huge.
Attempt to use Chess Cat effect.
I feel like the direction we're going feels oddly similar to Game 1. I have a funny feeling we're going to see like an allied Code Talker at Ignister field again, which isn't bad for any reason, but it just seems to be like the way this board is starting to clump itself
Trigger Mouse
together.
in the Mirror.
But now we got Mouse in the Mirror's effect. We're going to banish Dormouse from our graveyard and search for the same type of card. So we banished a monster, we're going to search for a monster.
March.
All right, we got the March Hare here, so Curiouser and Curiouser.
Every name is in rotation now. Oh my god, I don't know if people saw it on stream, but I believe Dean has different Dimension Ground in hand.
Interesting.
And we were talking about how Dimension Shifter might be a scary card for dinosaurs. Something tells me DDG is also one of those.
Yeah, it's also a little bit more
And
You can get a hand on both sides of the steering wheel a little better with different Dimension Ground because unlike Dimension Shifter, you just set the card, you just activate it, and there you go. Whereas Dimension Shifter, obviously a very strong card, but limited not necessarily because of how good it is in multiples, but just how often you would see it in multiples. Whereas different Dimension Ground, pop the trap and everything's banished, and all of a sudden dinosaurs aren't going to become fossils in the graveyard, they're just going to get banished out of existence.
100%. And here we see the Link 3 into Whitebinder using the Red Ransom as link material.
I would disagree, but not.
So there we see Whitebinder on summon to potentially declare the effect. We're not going to use the effect.
We'll use the effect of Whitebinder.
To set from grave or deck.
Yep.
Gonna probably choose to set the GWCS6 again. Yep, there it is. We have all the follow-up we need to now to make sure we have at least 1 or 2 guaranteed interruptions, depending on what else we can go for here.
A lot of cards in hand. Many points of interruption. I think 2 Droll and Lockbirds again. That may be enough to close this out on its own. No graveyard, no access to your deck. That feels pretty rough for dinosaurs.
I think the thing that Dean is thinking about is like how worth it is it to play into this Perulia, because he's going to get another draw no matter what if I summon this March Hare. So it's probably just like the cost-benefit analysis of that. He probably does need to be a bit careful of his life total because we are getting a little low on time, and it's easier to gain life points during your own turn than it is during your opponent's turn because the plays are a little less ideal. And if you lose too much life, you probably can't gain that much back anyway.
Well, especially if an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno drops down, its ability to do both a lot of battle damage and some effect damage. But I have a funny feeling we're never going to get any dinosaurs to the graveyard here. But speaking of the grave, it's Link 2, and we are going to make Splash Mage? Yeah, Splash Mage.
Okay, and that can probably get us into like Wicked maybe, to maybe get us access to backup Adagnister, because fun fact, that is a tuner monster. But we're going to get Chessy Cat here. Back using Splash Mage's effect.
I think we might be considering banishing something.
You have to get the March Hare.
Oh, but I think the Allure of Darkness is going to drop down instead.
You're good?
That's a pretty good way to
I don't know
kind
if I gave you this to shuffle it.
I'll cut for you.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and cut.
Yep.
There you go.
2 cards after already having a pretty stacked field.
And we know we have the March Hare.
Oh, wow. Ash Blossom and Infinite Permanence draw and banishing the Malice March Hare. That's just free.
Yeah, I think at this point, if I'm Dean, I'm more than happy to give Avery the extra draw off this Perulia, because then I can make Cryptor, and making Cryptor here would be just so, like, kind of lights out almost.
Feels very strong. Gonna have to be a little careful. Remember that, you're going to have to send the Droll and Lockbird to the graveyard, but that may not be an issue, depending on the timing of the different Dimension Ground.
That is from him, so you get a draw.
All right, wow. Draw for turn. This is going to be rough for Avery, but let's see how he can deal with this.
And we've officially used every single Malice name besides Cryptor, which means we've taken a total of 900, 900, 900, 300, which I believe is 3,000 damage.
Yep.
Big numbers for sure.
I should have used all of them by now.
Yeah, so they're just making sure that they themselves know how much life points he's lost this turn.
And I just
to verify, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's a total of 3,000 damage, which is a lot. Not the easiest for him to kind of gain back with GWCS6 either, because it does have a life point gain effect. And depending on how long Avery's turn takes, we could be going to time here, which could be dangerous for Dean. That's kind of the risk you're playing with a deck like Malice.
No.
Guess we were just counting up the lost life points here.
Yeah, always. The judges are trying to keep track of it, I think, just to make sure that's
I can do that.
accurate.
No, can't, because that requires 3. I've not used... Okay. So we're going to go...
Definitely an extended turn here.
3.
But I don't think giving Avery that draw was that big of a problem after all the advantage we have accumulated.
100%. We could see a really cool play here. We're just going to go for the Cryptor, but like something we could have done was like go Allied Kotaker, and because we have less zones now, we still summon both.
We'll activate backup.
Oh, we're still going in, so maybe give another draw there with the backup Adagnister.
Okay, there we see
Once
backup.
more. We don't know what kind of cards were side decked in.
We've already used Wizard this turn.
Add a copy of March Hare.
Yeah.
Yeah, so having this March Hare as a way to recycle back any Malice monster that we put into our graveyard during Avery's turn could be really huge for us.
Okay.
And then we'll activate Droll in response to Perulia's draw.
I think that's actually a discarded Droll off the effect of backup Adagnister.
Oh, you're totally correct. You're totally correct.
But he always has 2 Drolls, so it's always fine.
Yep, and there we see the Link 5 into Allied Code Talker at Ignister that we probably saw in Game 1.
Going to Allied Code.
Yep.
Same
That's
as last
easy.
time. We're going to get the 2 names back. Going to be White Rabbit and Red Ransom with a Cryptor in the graveyard and a March Hare in the hand. But we also have a bunch of other cards in Dean's hand.
All right, so bringing out as many honorary code talkers as we can here.
Go thrust.
And there we go.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because we activated a monster effect this turn.
We
And
did.
It'll set any card we want. It won't be added to the hand, but it can be set.
Lots of funny choices. Let's see what he chooses. Could be the Dominus Impulse.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Now, that is a lot of homework to do, right? You've got to get through the Dominus Impulse and everything else that we know is in Dean's hand that Avery is unaware of. But again, you don't get this far without knocking through a
it must
few
be set. I have
opponents.
control. No, yes.
That's right, that's
That is
right.
correct.
So he is going to set it. Yeah,
Set
set
it.
that down.
Making sure we're resolving the
Sorry.
card correctly.
Blanked.
But I don't know about you, Steven, but whenever I
set
see
2
a
more?
Malice deck with 4 set cards in their back row, I'm quaking in my boots because they also have an Omni Negate in the form of
go
Allied Code Talker right now.
I mean,
Anything in draw.
Dark Ruler no more, Heartbeat's
How much
Feather
time is
Duster,
left?
let's go. Let's find out what
2
Avery
minutes.
has.
But like you mentioned earlier, you know, if Avery can just
Am I
get
in?
to a battle phase,
Oh,
that's
step
probably
back
going to be
and
more
force
than
it,
enough
sir.
damage to kind of force this game in his favor, given how much little time they have.
Certainly could be. So we're going to activate
I
Fossil
know.
Dig.
Yep.
That's good. And Droll and Lockbird hurts a little, meaning that you still can use the Send effect
Thinking on respawn.
of... Oh, thinking on response. Maybe we have a Cult by the Grave.
Chain Link 3 question mark? Or sorry, Chain Link 2 because it's a new chain.
You're good.
Cool.
Okay, so we're
Otherwise-
locked out with Droll and Lockbird.
And there we see
Oh,
DDG.
no, Graveyard.
Any monster sent to the graveyard this turn is banished.
Yep.
Chain miss.
And we're going to chain.
Miscellaneousaurus!
Because fun fact, guys, the way that interacts with monsters, they would not be sent to the graveyard.
And
Sorry,
so...
banished. They will not be
Yeah,
banished.
and the crowd cheering for that one. Hopefully in the chat.
We'll
You better
chain
be
the
going
ball.
crazy. Come on, get all your
Contributing for
keyboards.
cost.
Ooh, but we're going to chain Allied Code Talker and Ignister to the Misc to negate that
Unless this
effect.
is banished or it stays in grave. Stays in grave.
Yep, so the Misc's effect was not activated. The DDG has resolved, therefore any dinosaurs that are sent are
it
still
is negated.
banished.
Gorgeous
Unfortunately.
copy, by the way, of that different dimension ground. Wow.
Oh,
On
yeah.
res,
Yep.
we'll go GWC.
Crowd has gotten noticeably quiet.
I mean, but like I said,
Summon.
I don't see how Dean gains 3,100 life points in 50 seconds.
You're good.
Yeah, time is ticking.
So,
Oh, but I
I'll gain
think,
23.
but we only gained 2,300.
yeah, 23, it's not enough.
Targeting. It
Miss,
targets.
it targets.
Yep.
So we are going to
Target
banish that
White Binder
Miscellaneousaurus before it's able to do anything. There's plenty of cards, though, in the hand, so see what kind of moves we do have.
Do we have any time extensions?
Nope.
No time extensions. That is the real time on the clock there, already accounting for the earlier slow play minor warning.
Pay 3.
And we are going to pay the damage with White Rabbit.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Interesting. Okay, going to pay 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the Misc was banished because the White Binder's effect. We're going to be
Under
setting
draw, right?
another trap card. We are under Droll.
Normal.
Sure.
Back to some.
There we see
Infinite permanence.
Imperm on the Overraptor. It's not going to be activated, and I believe
You're good.
I think we are at the end of this timer, which means we should just be going to the end of the main phase.
I mean, it doesn't matter. My life's lower.
Oh, and Dean
I
already
paid life.
saying it doesn't
paid-
matter, my
oh,
life is lower.
Yeah.
just like the story of Icarus, I think, unfortunately, Dean flew a little close to the sun with all of his Malice effects.
Absolutely.
I forgot you paid life. I literally saw you do everything, and I just.
Had he laid off like the second Link 3 effect on his first turn, he would have gained more life points than Avery and would have won. That's
I am
usually
lower
kind of what
than
you
Mark,
do
yeah.
when you're closer to time with Dean. Oh, sorry, as a Mouse player, but there it is.
And that's the game. Bean Smith Dinosaur taking it. Avery sitting there saying, I forgot you paid life. He didn't even know he had already won. Dinosaurs, it may take a while for like the receptors to come in, but they have done it. And the crowd is just so here for it. We see Hearts, but not Hearts Cryptor because she may have paid herself into a loss there. So Dean doing a great job, though, showing how great this deck is. But Avery is your winner, so Dinosaur Fiendsmith moves forward undefeated.
Yeah, and honestly, huge shout-outs to Avery. We saw him get a little bit overwhelmed with the Malice in Game 1, but he still fought through it and was this close to kind of breaking the board and getting an establishing winning position. But He was like, I'm going to adapt. I'm going to go first, and I know everything I have to do. I'm going to lock you down with my dinosaur cards and go from there. And unfortunately, the game just went on too long. Dean went a little overextension during his turn in his malice combos, and he opened it up for Avery to take home the victory.
Definitely shows you that there's a lot of room left to go in this format. Dean's got a little bit of a smile on his face. It's okay. You know, it's one of those things where you get caught up in individual rounds, but this tournament is Swiss. Dean could still be our YCS champion and did a great job showcasing all the new cards. So don't feel down. We'll be back before you know it.
I know everyone is obsessed about winning, but sometimes Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game of not losing.
Well, it's also a game about learning, too, and so it's important that even if you aren't the victor of a duel, that you take a lesson from it. And I think the lesson here for Dean is, you know, he knew pretty fast, okay, I see what's going on. I've given you so many cards. I've paid so many life points. I've kind of cornered myself into the end of my own story. But that's a lesson he's going to carry forward with him to future duels. And again, we might see Dean in the top cut before we know it.
Yeah, it's one thing to feel the pressure of like, oh, I'm playing the best deck in the room. It has all these different combo lines and intricate patterns, remembering them all, playing them the correct way. And also I need to make sure I go for the lines that gain me life points and don't sacrifice me life points. That's kind of not used to doing that. Like if you're not practicing that very consciously, it can be really hard to play that way in a tournament like YCS Providence.
Well, definitely, you can do a lot of theory crafting, but there's only one YCS Providence 2025, so you actually have to be in the seat, playing the cards in your hand, and that is a much different experience than just dreaming of the perfect duel here. And Avery, you know, just happened to make it, and that's the story, is that you really could play, you can play anything this format.
Yeah, sometimes I often think of the feature match for Yu-Gi-Oh! Events like YCS's to be about showing up or showing off. And in this round, Avery did both. He showed off the dinosaur decks, and he was like, I'm just going to show up, play the best game I can, and see if I win. And he's like, I did. Awesome.
Yeah. Good stuff. What a wild thing. We saw Frostosaurus.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Not Primite Frostosaurus, just, you know, Xenometeorus Frostosaurus. Just galaxy brain level stuff.
100%.
But I'm really excited again to see like how this format is shaking out, and whether, you know, you're playing here, you're watching at home, you're at all those nationals, shout outs to you competing all across the globe. This is going to be really cool. This is going to be a really good time for the next foreseeable couple of weeks before the next set comes out.
Oh, yeah. If you would have told me, hey, Steven, Fiendsmith Dinosaur is going to go 4-0 at Providence, I'm like, that must be a super sick tournament then. I'm glad I'm going there.
Good stuff, good stuff. I just can't believe that we got to see all this stuff. And it's nice to see that like classic dinosaur combos were still working, right?
Oh,
you know, the Miscellaneousaurus, the Soul-Eating Oviraptor. I've been playing a little bit of dinosaurs myself lately on Duel Links, so I'm just like, oh, this is still good. This is working, so that's good. Just good stuff. Sorry if we're beside ourselves. We don't get to see this every day.
Oh, no. I got to see in real time in 2025 someone pick up Miscellaneousaurus and be like, let me just make sure I don't play myself here.
It's one of those things where like, take the time to do your homework. It's hard. There's like 10,000, I think 14,000 plus Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so it's okay to read it. We're not throwing shade. But you do want to make sure that like the first time you're seeing a card isn't on the YCS featured match stage. But speaking of the featured match stage, you know what time it is, right?
Yes, it's time to send it over to Stephen Kangas and talk to our winner, Avery, for this round.
Thank you very much. I'm live here with Avery. Congratulations on the feature match win. The crowd was going wild for the dinosaurs. You pulled them out for this event. We got to start there. Why'd you want to play this deck?
Dinos is my favorite deck, Chain Misk, and yeah, I just love the deck, so I just wanted to bring it to YCS, see how I do.
So there's been more dinosaur support recently, but you're playing with Fiendsmith as well. No Primite stuff, but still Frostosaurus. Talk me through some of the philosophy of how you built the deck the way you did.
So I did have help for one of my boys in the crowd, I'm not gonna lie, but I played this, shout out to Johnny. I played this at YCS Orlando. I did pretty well. I didn't make day 2, but I knew the deck had potential. I just had to deck build it better. So this time around, I took a different approach with the deck building, and it's working out so far. So yeah.
It's been fantastic to see you at least on the feature match stage. But you said before coming up onto stage, you're also a chess player. You're also a soccer player. You're a track player or a competitor. I want to go to chess because that's another thinking game, right? Do you find overlap between chess and Yu-Gi-Oh, and that you're able to get better at both because you play the other?
So I'm gonna quote my friend Billy, aka John. He says that chess is basically kind of similar to Yu-Gi-Oh because you really have to think steps ahead. It feels like especially with the pace of the game now, you really have to be thinking, okay, what do they have in hand? What are they adding? What route can they go if I stop this? If I shut off this, they can't have this. And you're really trying to think ahead of your opponent. In chess, you have to do the same thing, otherwise you're going to be behind and you might find yourself in a worse position. So it's very overlapping for that reason. Very dangerous game, so.
Gets the brain wired a certain way. Well, any final shout-outs you want to give? You already gave a couple, but anybody else that might be watching?
To my boy Toga right there. Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to my boy Roman. Bacon, egg, and cheese looking self. And then shout out to Xavier right there. Just all my peoples, Marcus, Justin, everybody at home. And T-Neck, shout out to them.
Shout out the crowd, everybody, man. They're making noise for you. Congratulations on the win. We're going to throw it back to the casters.